To introduce myself again, I work with an organization called Nomadic Wax, which we created that name through, of course, nomad being something traveling, no home, and then wax, which is a reference to both vinyl wax and hip-hop record labels and the tradition of DJing, but then also means WAX is Wach and Wolof, which is the language, one of the many languages, but the primary language spoken in Senegal, West Africa, and it means to speak or to say.
Okay.
So there was a double play on that, and the organization originated out of working with Senegalese artists, but because at that time not a single person really anywhere, especially in North America, was working with non-English speaking hip-hop artists, everybody started knocking down on our door. Everybody from, East Africa and Southern Africa to Eastern Europe to South America, just because there was no other access to the U.S. and there was no one who was showing any interest or trying to promote it. So it began in 1999, so we're about 10 years old, and as an organization, and it's the organization has morphed a great deal over time, but really that's how it began, and then we accidentally found ourselves in this role of being one of the primary voices in the U.S. or primary venues in the U.S. for people to get their voices heard or put out there. Voices from outside of the U.S., especially within the hip-hop community, which of course is enormous.
Which hip-hop are we talking? Are we talking the commercial one, or are we talking the underground, or the the conscious hip-hop, the hip-hop which me and Emile 23 years ago we were discussing, defining the role of the hip-hop within the movement itself.
And have been discussing every year since then.
Always discussing the indabas,
Exactly.
The sixth element of hip-hop.
Exactly. No, I have a lot of friends who are like, oh, don't put me in a room with more hip-hop heads. Don't put me in another room with them. All we're going to talk about is who's the best MC. I'm sick of this. So, I mean, absolutely, it's, there's the constant argument of what is real hip-hop and what's the difference between hip-hop and rap. But the reality is we're all doing similar things, and it's all interesting, it's all relevant in some way, even stuff that I don't necessarily find interesting, like what you might call more commercial-oriented stuff. I can see the relevance for other people, and I can see why it exists. And I'm just going to focus my time and energy elsewhere, And I had one MC who told me once an interesting point where, the alternative to, imagine if we didn't even have commercial rap, the alternative is no rap, or in terms of that, no art. So, the debate goes on, but the work that we primarily do and the work that we found in artists around the world is this increased focus on the conscious side and this increased need to be political or politically motivated music, probably because of the circumstances in which people live. More dire circumstances, more complicated, more challenges, more pressures, and so people feel the need. It's not about money because there isn't necessarily money to be made in a lot of places. So it's really about what do I need to do right now, and oftentimes that need is feeded by difficulties in which they live.
Would you buy what Magee just that's what they like? Are you buying that here in South Africa? It's not about money, but are you buying
South Africa might be a different thing.
Let's be realistic. Are you buying that?
There is money to be made in South Africa.
I don't know about that. It depends, I suppose, on your reasons for getting involved. I mean, if you're in Cape Town, the truth is that there isn't money to be made as an MC. You have to move to Johannesburg, and bottom line is there's money to be made if you're really serious, in different ways. You need to explore all of those ways. Like if you're going to do an album, you're going to spend all that money on 8 tracks, where you can put out one track and then just market the one track and make sure everybody knows that one track, and then move to the next one, and then people hear all of it, because you put an album. People choose 2 songs and they play those 2 songs, and they, so what's the use of putting the money in? So it's just how you look at it. Also, like the amount of money you get paid for gigs in Cape Town, what else are you selling? Aside from just like a performance.
But there you are, you're still based in Cape Town, you don't know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a matter of we travel a lot. We go outside of Cape Town to go really earn some cash, and you got to think of you have to think of all of the ways of making a living from it.
So there's still a lot to be done.
Exactly.
Why do we have
to? And also be able to for people to want to learn and ask the question. Because look, what's name was younger than me, Shaheen. But I took the time to actually think, hey, I'm gonna ask Shaheen everything that I can learn from him. The same with Steve Gordon for making music, and Lance Stir from Ghetto Rap. You know, like kids need to ask the questions and then think about, am I serious about this? Is this really what I want to pursue? And when there's downtimes to it, then you're not surprised, you're not shocked, you're not like, oh, let me just find a 9 to 5. You know, and when Cape Town is hardcore, you see, just finding a 9 to 5, bro, is a lot of, it's not that easy, you know what I mean? So it's also about being honest. I mean, Joburg's obviously because of the commercial.
Yeah, it's commercial.
It's easy.
For money or no,
lots of choices, you know? Yeah. I mean, there's kids from here that actually, like, they tour on their own already, you know? I mean, like Ben Sharp was like, he's touring in France and Europe, and, you know, same with EJ Von Lyric. You know, they've learned how to survive, you know, and like people don't even know. They see occasionally, they see Toomey and the Volume performing, but Toomey tours everywhere, you know, in order to make cash for himself.
You know, in terms of this conversation, there is an interesting phenomenon or a common theme that I'm hearing from you, Emile, and I've heard in a lot of conversations, that you can't necessarily make money touring locally, especially in a lot of these places, maybe perhaps in Johannesburg, but even so, you have to do that. So for African musicians, this is a complex, difficult challenge. In the U.S., this is a difficult challenge for Americans, but clearly it's a different context than in the continent of Africa. But so, I mean, you have artists all across the continent who are able to tour successfully and make a living from their artistry, but it's not by touring in Africa. It's not by doing national or international tours to countries around them. It's by going to France or Europe or maybe the U.S., although less likely, right?
Yeah.
Doing festivals in those places, it's getting linked in. So the trick for artists to survive is to be able to access the outside and not focus on the local community, which is clearly a problem, but there's a reason for it. And you can't blame the person for taking those opportunities. Absolutely not. I'm not going to blame that at all. So, in fact, I encourage those people to be able to tour. But so the challenge there is, then how do you make it possible to tour locally and for it to be financially sustainable in the continent, within countries around South Africa, if we're here, or if we're in East Africa, or we're in West Africa. There are some interesting initiatives. There's one in South Africa called African Synergy, which is trying to create a grant process to help subsidize artists to be able to tour, African artists to tour within Africa. Because what is cool, what's really great is happening right now that is new, is the rise of music festivals that are super high quality across the entire continent. So there's venues to perform at. It's just a matter of transportation logistics, which are so expensive here. You know?
I hope Cape Town will buy into that, because there's this perception that Cape Town is part of, is somewhere in Europe.
Right.
Julian, let's come to you now. It's a big day tomorrow, and you know what? You will rendering an item or dance?
Rendering an item tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be teaching a house dance workshop. But on top of that, I'll be getting down with kids. You know, rocking ciphers, man. You know, that's how we do it. You know, I got to put in work too.
He doesn't know yet, but we're going to put him on some of the judging panels as well.
Oh, okay. So you'll also be judging.
Surprising, really. In the morning,
I'll bring the ice pack.
So when is this going to happen, Emile?
The anniversary is going to happen at the Baxter Theatre. Starting at 12 to 1 is a house, as I said, the house workshop. From 1 o'clock is a under 16 b-boy and b-girl.
Oh, I'm there.
Battle. And then there's popping battle, there's clamping battle, there's new school hip hop performances, and then there's b-boy battles. And you know, in between there's
let's get rid of this big boy. Let's get big girl.
Yeah, there's big girls.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
And then there's that from Goose MC.
Oh,
He's gonna perform, and then also Simon. Yemobiason from Worcester. And then Black Nose will probably also do like 1 or 2 songs. Call up all the old guys to come in.
The old school.
Yeah, hurt themselves and be out of action for 3 days afterwards.
I want to reflect on that one more time. I mean, 23 years. 23 years, man. This is amazing. I can't even believe that we're here to be able to celebrate this with you. But I mean, this is more than a movement. It's an institution. It's a Cape Town institution. This is a South African. This is like this is South African hip hop history. Yeah. And by that, I mean, we're talking about one of the most established scenes in the entire continent.
Maggie, you documenting this old stuff. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to put it on
the footage?
Yeah, the footage.
It'll be given to them.
Part
They're going to make a video. Yeah,
No,
I
that's what
clean
they
the
always,
archives.
they put them, they just put all the stuff somewhere in this dust, and then it gets dust. So I hate about these guys, they don't like show the guys.
Well, we're going to show soon. We put together a documentary that's going to be coming out in a short while. So yeah, don't worry. Everything else might be in the dust, but this documentary is going to be coming out of the dust soon.
Unfortunately, time is the enemy. Emile, tomorrow. So it's you, Black Noise.
It's
Junious.
Junious will be there. Magee is being filming with Megan. They're going to be, thanks to the U.S. Embassy, they're going to be around. They're also touring out into Johannesburg and Durban for a while, and then they come back at the end of next week to like just recap with the kids that they've worked with. And then so tomorrow's the anniversary from 12 till 7 at the Baxter, and it's $50 to get in. You can check out complete ticket, and then we'll also be at the door. And then also on Sunday at a venue out at N1, there's going to be a Lady P and a couple of other people are doing performance out there. So we're going to take them along out that side to go teach them house.
They're the one day by there in Cookson.
Now this is at the FAW.
Yes, it's in Cookson. It's in Cookson.
So it's about 5 o'clock. We're going to get on that side.
All right, it's happening. Happy birthday! Thank you. May you meet another 23 years. You still be around, eh?
We want to come back for the 50th.
Oh yeah.
Thanks guys for coming. Thank you, Junious. Thank you, Magee. Thank you, Megan. And keep that candle burning.
We will.